Hey there, my fellow intellectuals. Dr. Kyle here with another video. And tonight, what I want to talk to you about is the topic of artificial intelligence. Now, if you're someone like me, artificial intelligence has just exploded in the past year in terms of it affecting our day-to-day lives. I think that it's just been in the news constantly and just showing the latest developments, especially with things like ChatGPT and Google Gemini. And as someone who works as a data scientist and does machine learning, which is a subset of artificial intelligence, I've had the pleasure of spending the last year getting to know a lot more about it, even though I was pretty ignorant about it before then. So for those of you who may not know me, my name is Kyle. I did a PhD in physics at the University of California, Irvine. I studied supermassive black holes, but pretty much did not touch anything related to artificial intelligence, with the exception of taking a machine learning class in graduate school that was focused for physicists and astronomers. So in the past year, I have spent a lot of time on things like Coursera, watching videos from like Andrew Ng, reading books such as Artificial Intelligence, A Modern Approach, this book right here, Convergence, Artificial Intelligence and Quantum Computing, Social, Economic, and Policy Impacts. And have just spent the last year reading a lot of different research papers from the progression of AI in the modern day. So I am by no means an expert on the topic, but I don't think the conversation about AI should just be dominated by the experts, because it's going to affect all of our lives. And I think that we should all have a voice in how our lives might fundamentally change in the future. So this video might be the first in a series of videos I make about artificial intelligence, because it is a topic that I have really been delving into, and I find it very fascinating and interesting. And as someone who is still getting their feet wet into this subject, I have a lot to learn, and I'm not going to have all the answers. I don't really have any answers in this video. It's mostly just what I think and what my opinions are. And those are subject to change as I see the development of artificial intelligence in the near future. Nevertheless, I'll give you a personal view of AI and in this moment of time. It's May 30th, 2024, so this is all present to this day, but may change in the future. Okay, that being said, what do I think about it? I think artificial intelligence is an incredible tool. Right now, things like ChatGPT, Gemini, Google Copilot, those things are incredible for giving you usable information that can help you accomplish tasks in a much quicker amount of time than you could have done without them. A great example of this is, for example, coding. So you can ask ChatGPT, for example, if you give it a very specific set of instructions, like if you want to give it the algorithm of what you want to do, let's say if you want to process a file or pull data from a website, if you give it a very nice set of instructions that are very clear, it can write code that will do that task usually in the first few attempts. It usually won't get it right the first time, but it still saves you an incredible amount of time. And I'm not gonna lie, I have used it too for example, when I want to create plots, right? So let's say I have the data and I want to plot it in Python, but I don't really want to remember how to use matplotlib, and I want to have different markers and colors and lines and grids, and perhaps I know in my mind what I want, but I don't really want to have to go through the trouble of actually coding it up myself and running into all the bugs and running into all those kinds of problems. So it's really nice to give ChatGPT that sort of prompt where you say, hey, here's the data file, here's the plot, here's the vision I have for the plot, please make it happen. And within the first couple of attempts, it can get it right or get very close to what you want, and just saves you a lot of time. So right now, I think they're very incredible tools, though of course they are evolving into more powerful tools that can have some significant influence. So one area that I'm really maybe concerned about artificial intelligence is the use to spread misinformation and lies. I think deepfakes are something that hopefully people know about, where the idea is you have fake video or footage or voice of someone that they did not say, but you can make it look like they said something. And while there has been a lot of humorous videos on the internet of these kinds of deepfakes, of course, there's been a lot of harmful usage of deepfakes. And right now, the way that social media is able to sort of spread information like this kind of like intellectual contagion, just using a word from Dan Carlin from the Hardcore History podcast, when you have the ability to sort of spread like an intellectual contagion that is false, for example, a deepfake video or audio clip of like a politician or some important person, then this just opens up a whole can of worms where we almost can't trust anything that we see, right? How do you vet and verify every little piece of data information that comes to you? And I think as a data scientist, this is something that just having this perspective in terms of the data that I work with on the daily, but also thinking about the data that's out there, like on YouTube or on TikTok or on X or just on the web, it's so much. There's so much data streams coming in, and AI would be great to help process that in real time and condense all of that and learn patterns in that and help us make decisions with all of that. But again, it could be misused. So bottom line, it's a tool that can be used for good or ill. Now, another thing that people worry about with artificial intelligence is, will it become more intelligent than us, and will it want to do us harm? Now, I don't know. I have no idea about that. I do not work on developing the sort of state-of-the-art models of these large language models like ChatGPT, but it is a valid question. But I think it also relies on a couple of other factors. And what those factors are, for example, consciousness, right? We don't fully understand how consciousness works. I definitely don't. And because we don't really fully understand it in ourselves, it'll be kind of hard to assess consciousness or sentience within an artificially intelligent model, right? I don't know how the heck we're going to assess that. Some people have claimed, there has been sort of like news, like a Google researcher claims AI model is sentient or something, right? And I have no idea how to assess that or not. This whole artificial intelligence movement actually has made me start thinking a lot about these topics that I've never really thought about as deeply before, like consciousness, what it means to be human, how do we somehow incorporate ethics into the development of these systems, and just really pushing me to understand things that I didn't spend the past 10 years thinking a whole lot about in comparison to physics, right? But there's also a really interesting physics and engineering question in the sense of how these AI models are requiring tons of energy to sort of host the data and run the models on these computers that are just expelling a lot of heat. So there's a really big physics and energy problem associated with it as well that has to be addressed if we want to push the bounds of this technology further. So I know I'm rambling a bit. I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that. But in terms of what I think it will do to us in the future, I think getting the alignment problem, getting the ethics programmed into these things is tantamount to just whether or not we achieve world peace, prosperity, whatever you want to call it, or further destruction or ruin to the world. Because I could really see it going either way, and it I know maybe that's not a great thing to think about, but honestly I don't have a great sense of where this is going to lead, and I see so much potential for good, like using AI to improve medicine and improving medical diagnoses and having people have sort of personalized recommendations for their treatment plan, and taking a lot of burden off of doctors and sort of relieving the strained medical system in the United States, but also worldwide. And then I also think about, like I said, like deepfakes, spread of misinformation, rogue AI, for example, and the damage that can all cause. And it's hard. Sometimes I don't know what to expect. Sometimes I just don't know if I should expect that we're going to be in a utopia in the next 20, 30 years, or if it's going to be a barren wasteland. I don't think it'll be a barren wasteland. I really hope not. But it occupies my mind. It really does, because it's confusing. It's moving really fast. I think that as humans, we're not really designed to process this kind of information that quickly, in the sense that I don't think the past 20 years of human civilization, with the advent of social media and the rise of the internet as it's used today, I don't think we were evolved to incorporate this amount of information in our brains and process it in real time, because there's just so much coming in. I mean, that's what the AI models are supposed to be for, but it is confusing, to say the least. And it's been about more than 10 minutes now, and I feel like I've already been kind of rambling a bit. But anyways, I hope I have shared some thoughts that you might find useful for AI. I don't know if they were. This was really just me finally getting a chance to sit behind a camera and really express what's been on my mind. I definitely would like to make more videos about artificial intelligence in the future, and perhaps more specialized topics, or trying to address specific questions. So just consider this the first in a series. And if you would like to see a specific video, or me addressing a certain question relating to artificial intelligence and how I see it progressing, leave a comment below, and I'd love to hear your opinions as to what you think artificial intelligence means for our world and what you think should be done with it. All right, so with that, hope this video was worth your time, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.